In today's news, no additional funds from government provided for VYBZ KARTEL concert. Hopkinson sentenced to 32 years for murder. Premier addresses the need for updated charter legislations. Draft agriculture plan to be presented next month. ESHS is debate champions 2025. Civil mitigation policy to be launched. B.O.B promoter speaks ahead of the show. We have the details of this and much more when Tweet 4 News returns.
Father Jesus, that line you long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of it. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, son.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. What are they? You must have cut fun topic.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you? Yes. You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top up or?
Hello everyone and welcome to this edition of 284 News. It is Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. I'm Ron Grant, bringing you all the very latest out of Tortola in the Virgin Islands. A happy Wednesday's wish to all. Thank you so much for joining us. As preparations continue for the VYBZ KARTEL concert this weekend, Premier and Leader of Government Business, Minister for Tourism, Dr. The Honorable Natayode Wheatley is maintaining that the government's contribution to the event is only $220,000 and no funding came from the BVI Tourist Board. The question was also put to Premier Wheatley at a recent press conference as to whether the Tourist Board was making a contribution to the concert. In response, he maintained that no additional government funds were allocated, but he acknowledged that the BVI Tourist Board sponsors events independently as part of its mandate. The question was again asked to Premier during the Talking Points radio program by the host, Mr. Elvin Grant.
Premier, if we just pivot to a matter that's coming up, and it's the BVI government's sponsorship of the VYBZ KARTEL concert.
Yes.
The concert, I think, is scheduled for this weekend.
Yes.
Has there been any additional funds committed by yourself or the Ministry of Tourism to support that endeavor?
No, it's just been $220,000.
Okay. And in regards to what the plan is, has there been a meeting of the National Security Council or anything like that to plan for any events surrounding that, or is that the responsibility of the promoter?
Yes, this is considered a mass gathering.
Right.
And therefore, there's a number of things that the promoter has to do to be able to satisfy the requirements for a mass gathering.
Okay, so there are plans in place to deal with that?
Yes, and I'll say to you, the Department of Disaster Management has been excellent in holding the promoter accountable to do everything that he's supposed to do. Ratios of security to patrons, ensuring that we have emergency services, emergency plan, security in place. Department of Disaster Management has really been excellent.
Akeem Hopkinson was on March 10th, 2025 found guilty of the April 2021 murder of Mrs. Catherine Pickering on February 25th, 2025. Catherine Pickering, 67, was fatally shot in the head and chest with an AK-47 assault rifle in her Parakeeta Bay home on April 18th, 2021. Hopkinson was sentenced in the High Court to 32 years in prison by High Court Judge Raji Prasad and convicted on all 4 charges: murder, robbery, possession of a firearm with intent to endanger life, and possession of a prohibited firearm. His sentences will run simultaneously. The brutal murder occurred during the robbery of Miss Marisol Pickering, daughter of Mrs. Catherine Pickering. A total of 8 persons were charged in various offenses as all related to the incident that night. Shamar Robinson, who had previously pleaded guilty to robbery, was sentenced to 5 years and 9 months, including time already served, with the possibility of parole after 3 years, provided he undergoes counseling. In a recent interview on the local talk show program Talking Points, Premier and Leader of Government Business, Dr. the Honorable Natalia D. Wheatley provided context on the ongoing matter between the BVI and USVI regarding the BVI's need to update legislation which regulates the charter industry.
First of all, to say that we had a meeting with the USVI governor, and he had a full delegation with him, and we were pleased with the outcome of the meeting. Certainly we were pleased that we were able to somewhat dial back some of the rhetoric that was taking place in the media.
Yeah.
And of course, the possibility of things like tariffs and things like that. And so we were pleased that we were able to have a meeting where we were able to put our issues on the table on the US and the British side, and come up with a kind of pathway forward that we're still seeking to work through.
In detail, the Premier provided background on the length of time since the legislation had been amended.
As it pertains to background on the issue, I mean, this matter of the marine sector and the USVI and the BVI has been going on for a very long time.
Sure.
I think way back in the day when the industry was first established here in the Virgin Islands, because of the law that restricted passengers on the USVI to about 6 passengers. I believe that's when the industry got set up in the BVI here. And of course, persons would know that we have excellent cruising waters here.
Yeah.
We have 60 islands, islets, and keys, very beautiful. And of course, lots of businesses which have developed around sailing industry, lots of nice anchorages, amenities which have been set up to cater to the sailing community. So we have a great product.
Wheatley also spoke on the importance of both territories being able to benefit on a level playing field.
Now, the industry is governed by the Commercial Recreational Vessel Licensing Act.
Right.
That act was passed in 1992 by the late great Lavity Stout, who we recently celebrated for his visionary leadership. And a part of that visionary leadership was establishing the legislation for a charter boat industry here in the Virgin Islands. At that time, there was no distinction between home-based and foreign-based. Everybody got the same license. And the fees that persons pay today would reflect 1992 fees, which are very low. But the industry generates massive income, and it's not uncommon for charter operations to charge $100,000, $110,000, $120,000 a week for a charter operation. Of course, you have smaller operations as well, but you have an industry that produces a lot of money. There's a lot of value in it. And of course, we, in reviewing our fees, thought it was appropriate to be able to have a license that reflected the value of the product that we are selling.
The Premier has noted that both himself and the U.S. Virgin Islands Governor, Albert Bryan Jr., have agreed to take a look at the numbers once more and revert.
We should also say as well that we have places which are heavily dependent on the traffic from the USVI. You have the Jost Van Dykes, the Virgin Gordas, Anigadas, etc. And you have day trippers who would come from the United States Virgin Islands and other places, and they take persons on trips in our waters, visiting the anchorages, etc. And then they would go back to the USVI by the end of the day. In fact, in 2024, we had a record amount of day trippers, most day trippers we've had ever, which was just shy of 18,000, which would have been a record for us. But we also have term charters who come and they would spend several days. in the Virgin Islands waters.
Yeah.
You know, they would go to Jasper and Dyke, go to Virgin God, and they move around for about 7 days or so.
Up next, viewers, we have much more on the local scene. We'll be right back after a quick commercial break. Some claim that the age of a true gentleman is far behind us, but we disagree. He may appear in different guises today, but the values and ideals that make him a gent still stand. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman by yours truly, Ron Grant, presents Season 7. Introducing Travi Rose, Creative Director. Alex Lake, Businessman. Sean Black, Cinematographer. Dakari Wheatley Adams, Content Creator. Donandre Millwood, Educator and Musician. Hashim Dream, Entertainer. James Todman Sr., Contractor. Dr. Albert Tompkins, Psychotherapist. Walter Barrett, Author. Rakim Todman, Producer and Engineer. Kamal Letson, Photographer. Roosevelt Smith III, Sales Manager and Hospitality Professional. Leland Abraham, IT Technician and Cybersecurity Analyst. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, Season 7, every Wednesday at 8 p.m., exclusively on 284 Media. Get ready to reason, reflect, and redefine yourself through the stories of real-life heroes. The Art of a Distinguished Gentleman, Season 7, Raising a Generation of Greatness. Voted Top 35 Gentleman Podcast Worldwide by FeedSpot and BI Icon Award winner. Welcome back, everyone, and thank you all for sticking with us. A draft agriculture and fisheries plan will be known to the public next month. Speaking at the annual Agriculture and Fisheries exhibition at Parakeet Bay over the weekend, Junior Minister for Agriculture at the time, Dr. The Honorable Carl Dawson, says with the ministry's team and the Department of Agriculture, they expect to hold public consultations in April to share the draft Agriculture and Fisheries plan. He says while aspects of the plan may change based on the public's input, it will have key features.
Are as follows. 1. Ensuring safe and healthy food, whether locally produced or imported. 2. Encouraging agriculture and fisheries as viable careers and promoting them as business enterprises, occupations, and career paths. 3. Strengthening the legal and regulatory frameworks for the advancement of agriculture and fisheries. 4. Securing and protecting land and marine spaces for agriculture and fisheries development. In this regard, most of the survey work has been completed on Antigua and Virgin Gorda, and we are finalizing license agreement templates in order to assign lots on those islands. I would like to thank the minister responsible, the Deputy Premier, for the cooperation that we are getting from his ministry on this initiative. Number 5, objective is supporting a well-managed food production system across the territory. I consider this to be at the heart of the plan because it includes training, grants, and other means of support, further development of poultry and livestock production, the possibility of aquaculture, facilitating the use of technology to support farming and fishing, the promotion of more intensive, high-yielding approaches to farming, and facilitating the importation of new breeds to improve livestock production.
Although Dr. The Honorable Dawson is no longer the Junior Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, he said he would be very much involved within the industry. The Elmore Stout High School has emerged as champions of the 2025 Intersecondary Debate Competition, following a very fierce competition with the Virgin Islands School of Technical Studies. Take a look at how things went down.
Everything is possible for him who possesses courage and activity. And to the timid and hesitating, everything is impossible because it seems so.
I stand before you today as the second speaker of the proposition to reaffirm our argument that compared to traditional schooling, a STEAM-focused education system better prepares students for the future.
It was this very traditional schooling system that carried humanity through some of the greatest periods of advancement in history. The Industrial Revolution, the Renaissance, and even the construction of the Egyptian pyramids. Feats accomplished without half of the infrastructure or technology we possess today.
Both first and second speaker of the proposition stated that if we do not foster interest early, we risk being left behind. Mr. Moderator, while that may be true, what we are advocating for is the common sense use of technology. As our second speaker alluded to, we must build our fundamentals first before we introduce technology into the equation. Otherwise, the current trend of our falling fundamentals will turn into a free fall.
The third speaker of the opposition stated, not all jobs require STEAM education skills. One of the biggest flaws in this argument, not all jobs require STEAM, is that it assumes that the job market will remain static. But this is simply not true.
Social media is a major cause of addictions in our youth. If you take a look around, you will see many youth stuck to their devices, and they are basically inseparable from their device. It makes it hard for students to focus on their schoolwork and lowers their learning capabilities.
My first point is, education is a right, and denying it may cause a juvenile to go deeper into the criminal life. My second point is, second chances and rehabilitation is needed in the growing of youth.
Minimum GPA means the lowest GPA they can have while still participating in the sport that they do. No, I do not think that they should be required to maintain a minimum GPA because, one, it causes stress on the athlete and it may lead them to do worse in their respective sport. As a student athlete myself who just returned from a trip to Costa Rica, I experienced this firsthand, and I saw that some of my grades that were usually high, they dropped a little lower. So I believe this.
Some students use AI to help with feedback on their schoolwork and also to find resources for information, such as videos, articles, and YouTube videos, and other resources. However, many students use AI to do all the thinking for them. For example, they put prompts into AI so it can write out a whole essay. Is this beneficial for their critical thinking skills? Absolutely not. This is making their mental mindset lazy, so it is damaging their critical thinking skills.
The reality is that the wall that we are preparing students for does not exist. And the traditional education system has focused more so on content and knowledge in terms of facts. How do you acquire knowledge versus how do you really become solution-oriented? How do you solve problems? How do you innovate? The reality is that the Virgin Islands must consider what its next economic pillar will be. In order to do that, we need persons who will think critically, who will look at problems and seek to become the innovators that will solve those problems and institute changes ultimately to the benefit of generations to come.
The last speaker today, I think, drove the point home. Economies that have embraced innovation are leading the world, and we cannot afford any longer to be on the back end of innovation.
Like, we love the content of each debater. They came and they had really good content, and to do that in 1 minute, I'm telling you, when I was in high school, you would not see me up here doing any form of speaking publicly. They were good organization. It was real good. You had introduction, you had your points, and you had your conclusion. We also loved your clarity, your articulation, and your modulation.
This was a difficult debate, more difficult on one side of the debate than it was on the other. But we are pleased to see how it was handled on both sides. We have to commend the coaches of these teams. We are seeing
In a Government Information Services release, it was announced that the Ministry for Communications and Works, under the leadership of the Honorable Kai M. Reimer, recently unveiled the Government of the Virgin Islands Civil Mitigation Policy, a vital initiative aimed at improving infrastructure management with communities. In his remarks, Minister Reimer stated, and I quote, "This policy signifies a transformative approach to accountability, equity, and the strategic allocation of resources. It establishes clear criteria for civil mitigation projects, introduces a technical assessment committee to impartially evaluate and prioritize requests, and creates a standardized process for procurement, monitoring, as well as evaluation. Eligible projects under this policy encompass a range of initiatives, including road repairs and paving, sidewalk and curb wall construction, retaining walls and road slabs, drainage improvement, cleaning and clearing of guts, installation, repairs, and refurbishment of government infrastructure, road clearing in response to unforeseen weather events. It is also essential to know that the implementation of the approved projects will depend on available funding. Financial resources for civil mitigation projects are allocated through a dedicated district fund in each of the 9 electoral districts. Up next, viewers, we have much more coming up. We'll be right back.
Yo, everything good there?
Bye. This thing got me one way that day.
What do you mean?
Ever since I hook up with this thing, can't eat, I can't sleep. This is the first thing I touch it when I reach home.
What do you really? Hey, this ain't like you, know.
Dad, this thing got me staying home, keeping out that trouble me.
Wow. What your name is?
Shit. I talking about my CCT life.
Don't worry about missing your favorite series, sports, news, and local programming. Come to CCT today and sign up for CCT Live to access over 80 channels. CCT Live. Bring it home.
1 month free trial turn into 5. 5 months turn into, well, you know I watching ball. I been watching football. Dad, Nickelodeon, Paw Patrol. I am hooked. Hook, I tell you.
Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for sticking with us. Closing out our newscast in anticipation as it continues to build for the second edition of Black on Black, as event organizer Mr. Steve Parlon of YOLO Promotions reports strong ticket sales and the expectation of a large crowd for the highly anticipated event this Saturday, March 15th. The marquee showcase will be headlined by Jamaican dancehall legend VYBZ KARTEL, marking his first ever appearance in the British Virgin Islands. Despite numerous backlash from sections of the community, Parlon remains confident that true fans are eager and excited to witness the iconic artist take the stage. Take a look at this report.
In just a matter of days, all the attention will turn to the Wickham's Key reclamation site behind the Ralph T. O'Neill Administration Complex, where Jamaican dancehall legend VYBZ KARTEL is set to headline Black on Black, an event hosted by YOLO Promotions. Ahead of that event, I had the pleasure of speaking to promoter Steve Parlon, who gave all the following information.
We're counting on the days. We're very excited for our second annual Black on Black here in the British Virgin Islands. Tickets been going great. Actually, a very high number of persons buying out the VIP. As you can see right behind us, we have a very large ultra VIP area with all the cabanas, a Sky Ultra and everything. And, we're expecting a very large crowd from all over the world, US Virgin Islands, Caribbean Islands. We have a flight coming in on Liat on Friday full from Jamaica and Antigua. And, nearby British Virgin Islands, also Virgin Gorda, Just Van Dyke, Antigua. We have people coming from all over and excited to see one of the greatest artists in the history of dancehall, VYBZ KARTEL.
Okay, and I know you obviously mentioned VYBZ KARTEL as the headliner, but we do know there's some other acts like Skilly Bang. We also would have seen Ja Vinci also on that list as well, and some local talents as well that will be featuring as part of the overall entertainment come that night. Speak up on those as well.
Well, just dating back maybe about, just let's go 10 years back, I don't think you have ever seen a lineup this heavy. You're talking about one of the greatest to ever do it, VYBZ KARTEL, and then you have a superstar like Skilly Banks, who is an up-and-coming dancehall superstar. Then you have Ja Vinci, who is one of the best singers out there in the world. KARTEL call him the world singer. And we have some of the best of the best when it comes to local talent with Vibe, Monet, Banco, Priceless, Revelation, Sister Joyce, Critical, and then we have some guest artists also from the US Virgin Islands, Star Martin and Cruzano, and then we have a whole line of great DJs also.
Okay, and I do know, upon our earlier conversations that we would have had years before, in terms of you speaking on, the behind the scenes of what goes into being a promoter in the Virgin Islands and the challenges that are faced. Speak on some of the challenges you faced too for this promotion, especially. We do know there have been some backlash in the public as it pertains to whether it be local media, whether it be persons, etc. Criticizing the event because of who is headlining the event. Speak on the challenges you face also too in getting this event put together and overcoming those challenges as well.
Well, an event of this magnitude, obviously, it's always going to be a challenge, whether it's logistics, here in the British Virgin Islands, especially when it comes to travel, it's not as easy getting here as some people may think. And then, obviously dealing with artists and their preference of traveling is always up to today. I'm making adjustments in travel, because, persons want to go certain particular routes. As far as, the adversity, my team, we don't really care about that, like the adversity, because, we have to respect everyone's opinion. Everyone is not for Vybz Kartel, and we don't expect everyone to be for Vybz Kartel. But we just ask that people respect the promotion, the reckless, irresponsible medias out there that are posting false information and trying to, get people not to come to the event is very non-classy and childish. And, at the end of the day, we can't look at the noise on the outside. We have to concentrate on what's going on inside. Because the thing about it is people already spend their money. The government already spend their money. People have already been deposited, and we have to put on this event regardless of what. There's nothing that's going to stand in the way of this event going forward. And at the end of the day, let the results do the talking. They're saying there's no buzz. But, if you check our emails, people are buying tickets every day online. People are booking hotels. Go to all the hotels. Go to the Airbnbs, People are bunking. People are buying air beds, So, we just have to focus on what we know. You understand? We're not here to prove anything to the public. We're here to put on a great event, and that's what we're going to do.
Okay. And you briefly touched on it just now. As you said, the government has spent their money. I believe the Premier would have confirmed a $200,000 injection into the event in terms of boosting entertainment tourism in the territory. And now we would have seen recent articles speculating that an additional injection of monies from the B.O.B Tourist Board, which they did confirm an injection, but they didn't specify the amount. Obviously, I assume that's what he was referring to basically as it relates to that. What can you say as it pertains to those persons that continue to basically speak from that negative perspective in terms of trying to discourage persons to come onto this event? I do know that one of the things that persons would often say too in the past is that there aren't much activity going on in the Virgin Islands. Now you have an activity of this magnitude. Why this backlash?
Well, the thing about it is the hurtful part about it is that there are individuals who have history and experience in tourist board, and it's an embarrassment that they would not know that an event of this magnitude have had government and tourist board sponsor, like for instance, music festival. So why is this even an issue when tourist board is on the flyer as a sponsor? So if you're on the flyer as a sponsor, why would you not be a monetary sponsor? Because there's two different sponsorship. We had a sponsorship from the Premier's office and we have a sponsorship from the BVI Tourist Board. What is not in line with that? Because that is a normal occurrence. And the Tourist Board has sponsored many of our events last year. There wasn't any articles written on that. So again, it's very obvious what some persons' agendas are. And like I said, we are not studying with that. We're focusing on trying to put on an event.
Reporting for 284 News, I am Kamal Haynes.
Viewers, that is it for today's news roundup. Be sure to follow us for your daily news updates at 284media.com, as well as to follow us on our WhatsApp channel for daily updates, and follow us on Facebook at 284media and 284BVI on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. I'm Ron Grant. Have a safe and enjoyable evening. A happy Wednesday's wish to all. Goodbye.